What if I told you that the richest man on the planet, the man who wants to colonize Mars, the man who runs Tesla, SpaceX, and now owns X, has been broken, shattered, and left in tears? Not by a business failure, not by fight over breakups. He has begged women to stay. He has publicly admitted that he cannot be alone. And today, I'm going to take you on a journey through the secret, messy, emotional, and sometimes shocking love life of Elon Musk. This is not gossip. This is not some tabloid nonsense. This is the real story, told with facts, with timelines, and with the words that came straight from Elon Musk's own mouth. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear will completely change the way you see the world's most powerful man. Before we talk about the women in Elon Musk's life, we need to understand something very important. Where did Elon Musk's need for love come from? Let's go back, way back, to Pretoria, South Africa. In the 1970s and 1980s, Elon Musk was not a popular kid. He was not the cool guy in school. In fact, he was the opposite. He was bullied, brutally, physically, and emotionally. There's a famous story where a group of boys beat him so badly that he was hospitalized. They threw him down a flight of stairs and kicked him until he was unconscious. But the physical pain, that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what happened at home. Elon's parents, Elon Musk and May Musk, divorced when he was young, and Elon made a decision that would haunt him for years. He chose to live with his father. Now, Elon has spoken about his father in interviews, and every single time you can see the pain in his eyes. He has called Elon Musk a terrible human being. He has said that his father did almost every evil thing you could possibly think of. Imagine that. A young boy, already bullied at school, comes home to a father who is cold, manipulative, and emotionally abusive. What does that do to a child? It creates a person who is desperate for love, a person who is terrified of being alone, a person who throws himself into relationships with everything he has, because deep down inside there's a little boy who just wants someone to love him. And that, my friends, is the foundation of Elon Musk's entire love life. Remember this, because everything I'm about to tell you will make so much more sense now. Let's start with the first major love of Elon Musk's life, Justine Wilson, who later became Justine Musk. Elon met Justine at Queen's University in Ontario, Canada. He was a young, ambitious student. She was a beautiful, intelligent, aspiring writer. And Elon? He was obsessed. He didn't just ask her out. He pursued her relentlessly. He would show up at her dorm. He would call her. He would find every excuse to be near her. And eventually, Justine said yes. They dated through college, and in the year 2000, they got married. At this point, Elon had already co-founded Zip2 and had made his first millions. He was on his way to becoming the Elon Musk we know today. But here's where things get interesting and painful. Justine later wrote a famous essay, a brutally honest essay, in which she described what it was like to be married to Elon Musk. She said that on their wedding day, Elon told her, and I quote, "I am the alpha in this relationship." Let that sink in. On the day that was supposed to be the happiest day of their lives, Elon Musk felt the need to establish dominance, to make it clear that he was in charge. Now, why would someone do that? Think about it. Think about that little boy from South Africa, the one who was beaten, the one who was emotionally neglected. That little boy grew up and said, "I will never be weak again. I will never let anyone have power over me." But love doesn't work that way. Love requires vulnerability. Love requires surrender. And Elon Musk didn't know how to do that. Justine described their marriage as increasingly difficult. She felt like she was losing her identity. She felt like she was becoming an accessory, a trophy wife to a rising tech billionaire. She wanted to be seen as an equal, as a partner, but Elon, consumed by his work and his ambitions, couldn't give her that. And then came the unthinkable tragedy. Elon and Justine had a son, their firstborn, named Nevada Alexander Musk. At just 10 weeks old, Nevada died of sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS. The loss was devastating, absolutely devastating. But here's the thing that shocked people, Elon's response. Justine later said that Elon told her that grieving was not useful. He didn't want to talk about it. He wanted to move forward. He wanted to solve the problem the way he solves every problem, with action, with logic, with forward momentum. They went on to have 5 more sons through IVF, twins and then triplets. But the marriage was crumbling. The cracks were too deep, the wounds too raw. In 2008, Elon filed for divorce, and this is where it gets really real. In 2008, Elon Musk was going through hell. SpaceX had failed 3 rocket launches. Tesla was on the verge of bankruptcy. The global financial crisis was destroying everything. And now, his marriage was over. Elon later said that 2008 was the worst year of his life. He said he was dying inside. But did he take time to heal? Did he take a step back and process the pain? No. He did what Elon Musk always does. he jumped into the next relationship. Just weeks after his divorce from Justine, Elon began dating a young British actress named Talulah Riley. Talulah was everything Justine wasn't, or at least that's how it seemed. She was gentle, she was supportive, she was willing to fit into Elon's world. And Elon fell hard. Fast. They got married in 2010, just 2 years after his divorce. But here's the pattern that I want you to pay attention to, because it repeats over and over and over again in Elon's life. The relationship started with passion, with intensity, with an almost desperate need for connection. And then slowly, reality set in. The 100-hour work weeks, the obsession with SpaceX and Tesla, the emotional unavailability. In 2012, Elon filed for divorce from Talulah. But then, and this is the part that blows people's minds, they got back together. And in 2013, they remarried. Yes, Elon Musk married the same woman twice. Think about what that says about him. He couldn't let go. He couldn't be alone. He needed her. But he also couldn't give her what she needed. It was a cycle, a heartbreaking, exhausting cycle. And sure enough, in 2016, they divorced again, for the final time. Talulah Riley, to her credit, has always spoken kindly about Elon. She has said that he is a good man with a good heart. But she has also made it clear that being married to Elon Musk is not easy. It's not glamorous. It's lonely. Because when you're married to a man who is trying to save the world, you realize something painful. You will always come second. The mission comes first. Always. Now we get to the relationship that everyone talks about. Elon Musk and Amber Heard. This is the one that made headlines. This is the one that people still argue about. And this is the one that, according to people close to Elon, hurt him the most. Elon and Amber reportedly began seeing each other around 2016, although some reports suggest they connected earlier. Amber was in the middle of her explosive divorce from Johnny Depp, a divorce that would eventually lead to one of the most watched trials in modern history. Elon was captivated by Amber. Those who know him said he was completely, utterly head over heels in love with her. This wasn't just dating. This was Elon Musk giving his heart to someone. But the relationship was turbulent. It was on and off. It was dramatic. And in 2017, it ended, and here's the moment that revealed everything. After the breakup, Elon gave an interview to Rolling Stone magazine. And in that interview, the richest man in the world, the man who builds rockets, the man who wants to put humans on Mars, broke down and cried. He said, and I quote, "I was really in love, and it hurt bad." He also said something that is perhaps the most revealing thing he has ever said about himself. He said, "If I'm not in a relationship, I cannot be happy." Read that again. "If I'm not in a relationship, I cannot be happy." This is a man worth hundreds of billions of dollars. A man who has achieved things that most humans can only dream of. A man who is literally changing the course of human civilization. And he is telling the whole world that none of it matters if he doesn't have someone to love. That's not strength. That's not weakness either. That's just human, painfully, beautifully human. And then came Grimes. Claire Elise Boucher, known professionally as Grimes, is a Canadian musician, artist, and creative genius in her own right. She is eccentric, brilliant, and completely unlike anyone Elon had ever dated before. They connected on Twitter, of all places, over a joke about artificial intelligence. Specifically, a pun about Rocco's basilisk, a thought experiment in AI theory. If that sounds nerdy, that's because it is. And that's exactly why it worked. They made their public debut at the 2018 Met Gala, and the internet lost its mind. People couldn't understand it. The billionaire tech mogul and the avant-garde musician, it seemed like a relationship from a different dimension. But those who understood both of them knew it made perfect sense. They were both visionaries, both obsessed with the future, both a little bit weird, both brilliant in ways that most people couldn't comprehend. Together they had children. Their first son was born in 2020 and they named him XAEA12. Yes, that's a real name. The internet went crazy again. People couldn't pronounce it. People couldn't understand it. But for Elon and Grimes, it was perfect. They later had a second child, a daughter named XA Dark Cederail, born via surrogate in 2021. And then a third child, Techno Mechanicus. Yes, that's also a real name. But despite the children, despite the connection, despite the shared vision of the future, the relationship struggled. Grimes spoke openly about the challenges. She talked about how Elon lived below the poverty line at times. Not because he didn't have money, but because he was so consumed by his work that he didn't care about comfort or luxury. She talked about the loneliness, the feeling of being with someone who was always somewhere else, mentally, emotionally, physically. In 2022, they confirmed that they had broken up, but their relationship remains complicated and intertwined as they continue to co-parent their children. Let's talk about something that most people don't focus on. Elon Musk's children. As of now, Elon Musk has at least 11 known children. 11. With Justine, he has 5 sons, twins Griffin and Vivian, and triplets Kai, Saxon, and Damien. Vivian has since changed her name and publicly distanced herself from her father, a story that carries its own deep pain. With Grimes, he has 3 children. And with Siobhan Zilis, a Neuralink executive, he has twins born in 2021 and a 3rd child born in 2023. The Siobhan Zilis revelation shocked people. It came out of nowhere, and it raised a lot of questions about Elon's personal life, about his philosophy on population, and about the kind of father he really is. Elon has been vocal about his belief that declining birth rates are a threat to civilization. He has said that population collapse is the biggest danger to civilization. And some people believe that his decision to have so many children is driven not just by love, but by this philosophical belief. But here's the painful question that nobody wants to ask. With 11 children and multiple companies to run, how present can he really be as a father? Some of his children have spoken out. Vivian, his transgender daughter, legally changed her name and said she wanted nothing to do with her father. That is a wound that no amount of money can heal. Now let's step back and look at the big picture. Because when you lay out all of these relationships side by side, a very clear pattern emerges. Pattern number 1, intensity. Every relationship Elon enters, he enters with full force. He doesn't date casually. He falls in love completely, totally, and immediately. This is the pattern of someone who is desperately seeking emotional connection. Pattern number 2, work always wins. No matter how much Elon loves someone, his work always comes first. Always. Every woman in his life has said the same thing. Being with Elon means being alone, even when he's right next to you. Pattern number 3, the inability to be alone. Elon has admitted this himself. He jumps from relationship to relationship. There is almost no gap between his breakups and his new romances. This is not the behavior of a man who is at peace with himself. This is the behavior of a man who is running from loneliness, running from the silence, running from the little boy inside who just wants to be loved. Pattern number 4, the cycle of hope and heartbreak. Every relationship starts with hope. Beautiful, passionate, all-consuming hope, and every relationship ends with heartbreak. The cycle repeats over and over and over again. And this brings us to the deeper truth, the truth that no one talks about. Elon Musk can solve almost any problem on Earth. He can build rockets that land themselves. He can create electric cars that outperform every competitor. He can dig tunnels under cities. He can put satellites in orbit. He can even buy an entire social media platform just because he feels like it. But he cannot solve love, because love is not an engineering problem. Love is not a physics equation. Love cannot be optimized, automated, or scaled. Love requires patience. Love requires presence. Love requires the one thing that Elon Musk struggles with the most, slowing down. And here's what makes this story so powerful. It's not just about Elon Musk. It's about all of us. How many of us throw ourselves into our work because we're afraid of being vulnerable? How many of us jump from relationship to relationship because we can't face the silence inside? How many of us achieve incredible things in our careers while our personal lives fall apart? Elon Musk is not just a billionaire. He's a mirror. He reflects the struggle that millions of people face every single day. The struggle between ambition and love, between achievement and connection, between changing the world and being present for the people who matter most. Let me leave you with some of the most powerful things Elon Musk has said about love and relationships. He once said, "I would rather stick a fork in my hand than write about my personal life." And yet, time and time again, his personal life becomes public, because when you're the most famous person on the planet, there is no privacy. He said, "I need someone who won't run away when things get hard." This is the cry of a man who has been left over and over again, not because the women were wrong, but because the situation was impossible. He said, "Going to sleep alone is the hardest thing." Think about that. A man who has everything, money, power, fame, influence, and the hardest thing in his life is going to bed alone. So what's the lesson here? What do we take away from the love life of Elon Musk? Here it is, and I want you to really hear this. No amount of success can fill the hole that loneliness leaves. You can be the richest person on Earth. You can build the most advanced technology in human history. You can have your name written in the stars, literally. But if you go home to an empty bed, if you have no one to share your victories with, if the people you love the most are the ones you've hurt the most, then what was it all for? Elon Musk is not a villain. He's not a hero. He's a human being, flawed, broken, brilliant, and desperate for love. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most relatable thing about him. Not the rockets, not the billions, not the tweets, just a man standing in front of the world asking to be loved. Thank you for listening. If this story moved you, if it made you think, if it made you feel something, then share it. Because everyone needs to hear this. The richest man in the world is proof that money can buy everything, except the one thing that matters most, love.